The alarm bell screamed through the monitoring station on Kepler 442b. Commander Zephy dropped his morning meal and rushed to the main control room. His blue skin turned pale as he saw the flashing red lights on every screen. "What is happening?" he asked his communications officer. "Sir, we are getting distress calls from the outer rim, many of them all at the same time." Zephy looked at the main display. Red dots marked destroyed colonies across 3 star systems. Each dot represented thousands of lives lost. His hands shook as he counted them. "Show me the messages," he ordered. The first recording was from New Ilaria Colony. The voice was broken and filled with fear. "This is Colony Director Yashtal. We are under attack. Unknown ships, huge ships. Our weapons do nothing to them. They are not listening to surrender calls. Please send help, please." The message ended with an explosion sound. Then silence. The second message was even worse. It came from the mining station at Helix 7. "The attackers are not normal. Their ships look wrong, like metal boxes with guns, no shields that we can see, but our plasma cannons bounce off them like toys. They use primitive weapons, but they work. How do they work so well?" Zephy played message after message. Each one told the same story. Giant ugly ships that should not be able to fight so well. Weapons that looked old but destroyed everything. Attackers who never talked, never asked for surrender, never even gave warnings. "Sir," said his science officer, "I have analyzed the ship designs from the survivor videos. What did you find?" "The ships follow no known design pattern. They are built like fortresses, not spaceships. Heavy armor everywhere. Too much armor. Any normal species would never build ships like this because they would be too slow and use too much fuel." Zephy felt a cold fear growing in his stomach. What kind of species would build such ships? Only a species from a Deathworld, sir. Everyone in the control room went quiet. Deathworlds were the most feared planets in the galaxy. Worlds with crushing gravity, poison air, deadly storms, and monsters that could kill you in seconds. No civilized species could survive on such planets, and no species that did survive could ever build spaceships. They were too busy fighting just to stay alive. "That is impossible," Zephy said. "No Deathworld species has ever achieved space flight. Our scientists have studied this for hundreds of years." "I know, sir, but look at these ship designs. Heavy gravity would explain the thick armor. Toxic environments would explain why they build everything so strong, and constant danger would explain why they never negotiate. They only know how to fight." More messages came in. Colony after colony was going dark. The attacking fleet was moving toward the core worlds, toward the heart of galactic civilization. Zephy opened a channel to the Galactic Council headquarters. "This is monitoring station 7. We have a code black emergency. Unknown hostile fleet is destroying outer rim colonies. We need the full defense fleet." The response came quickly. "Monitoring Station 7, this is Council Defense Command. How many enemy ships are we facing?" Zephy looked at his tactical officer. The officer checked his screens and turned pale. "Sir, based on the attack patterns and timing, we estimate at least 50 capital ships. Maybe more." 50 capital ships, Zeph reported. 50. "Are you certain no known species has a fleet that large?" "Sir, I am certain. And sir, there is something else. These ships appear to be from a Deathworld species. Long silence on the channel, then say again Station 7. The attacking ships show design patterns consistent with Deathworld engineering. Heavy armor, simple but effective. Weapons built for survival rather than speed or elegance. That is impossible. Deathworld species cannot build spaceships. Sir, someone forgot to tell them that. Another alarm went off. Zeph looked at the new data with growing horror. Council command, we have updated intelligence. The enemy fleet is not just attacking randomly, they are following the main trade routes. They are moving directly toward the core systems. This is an organized invasion. Understood. Station 7, we are sending the 3rd Fleet to intercept. Zeph, I knew the 3rd Fleet, 50 ships, with the best weapons and shields in the galaxy, crews trained for decades, ships that had never lost a battle. He hoped it would be enough. 3 hours later, the 3rd Fleet reached the enemy. The battle lasted exactly 18 minutes, 47 galactic ships were destroyed. The enemy lost nothing. The few survivors sent back recordings. Zeph, I watched in disbelief as the primitive-looking enemy ships tore through the galactic fleet like it was made of paper. The plasma weapons that could melt asteroids barely scratched the enemy armor. The shield-piercing missiles exploded harmlessly against the thick holes, but the enemy weapons worked perfectly. Simple metal projectiles fired at incredible speed punched through the best shields like they were not there. Nuclear explosives that should have been useless in space battle destroyed ships designed to survive anything. How is this possible? His tactical officer asked. Because we have been thinking about this wrong, Zeph, I said slowly. We build our ships for space. We design weapons for fighting in the void, but they build everything for surviving on worlds that try to kill them every day. To them, space combat is easy compared to their home. A new message arrived. This one was different. It was not a distress call. It was from the enemy fleet. The image showed a figure in heavy armor. The face was hidden behind a dark helmet. When it spoke, the voice was deep and mechanical. To all species of this galaxy, you have grown weak. You hide behind energy shields and fancy technology. You have forgotten how to fight, how to suffer, how to be strong. We are here to remind you, surrender your weapons and submit to the strong or be destroyed. You have one standard day to decide. The message ended. Zeph stared at the screen. What do we do now? His science officer was working frantically at her station. Sir, I have been analyzing their language patterns and ship designs. I think I know who they are. Tell me. They are speaking a form of ancient galactic standard, but their accent and word choices match records from the restricted archives. I think these are the descendants of one of the lost generation ships. Generation ships? Yes, sir. Hundreds of years ago, some species sent out massive ships to colonize distant worlds. Most were never heard from again. We assumed they died or failed, but what if they succeeded? What if they found worlds so dangerous that they had to become something new to survive? Zeph understood. The attackers were not aliens at all. They were the children of civilized species who had been forced to become Deathworlders to survive. They had spent generations learning to live in the most dangerous places in the galaxy, and now they were coming home. Send a message to all council members, he ordered. To them, we are not facing an unknown species, we are facing ourselves, or What we might have become if we had been forced to be strong instead of comfortable. As the enemy fleet moved closer to the core worlds, Sci-Fi wondered if civilization could survive meeting its own shadow. The soft, comfortable species of the galaxy were about to face what they might have been if they had chosen strength over safety. The Deathworld fleet was coming, and they were not impressed with what the galaxy had become. Captain Sarah Chen was drinking her morning coffee when the emergency signal came through the bridge of the Terran dreadnought. Indomitable went from quiet routine to full battle alert in seconds. Captain, we have an urgent transmission from the Galactic Council, reported Lieutenant Martinez at the communication station. Put it through. Main screen showed Commander Zehai looking exhausted and frightened. This is an emergency. Broadcast to all Council member fleets. Unknown hostile forces are attacking Outer Rim colonies. We need immediate assistance. Sarah listened to the report with growing concern. 50 capital ships destroying everything in their path. Primitive weapons that somehow worked better than advanced technology. Attackers who never negotiated or even talked. Tank, what do you think? She asked her weapons officer, Commander James Morrison. Everyone called him Tank because he was built like one and had the same approach to problems. Tank studied the tactical data. His face went pale. Captain, these ship designs look familiar. Familiar how? They remind me of old Earth military doctrine before we joined the Council. Heavy armor, kinetic weapons, nuclear warheads. We used to build ships exactly like this. Sarah felt a cold chill. Are you saying these might be human ships? I'm saying they fight like humans, Captain, like humans who never learned there was supposed to be a better way. Within an hour, Admiral Rodriguez authorized a reconnaissance mission. Captain Chen would take a small fleet to investigate. The ships chosen were all human-built, but equipped with Council technology. The best of both worlds. As they traveled toward the conflict zone, they met streams of refugees fleeing the destruction. Sarah had never seen so many different species working together in terror. Beautiful crystal beings whose home worlds were colder than Earth's poles. Methane breathers in heavy environmental suits. Gasback creatures who normally floated in their ship's upper atmosphere. Sarah interviewed as many refugees as she could. The stories were always the same. Ships that looked like flying metal boxes, weapons that should not work so well, attackers who showed no mercy and asked for no surrender. They do not fight like civilized beings, Molly said. Ambassador Kethva, a crystal being whose ship had barely escaped the destruction of New Ilaria. They fight like animals, but smart animals, organized animals. What do you mean? Sarah asked. When we fight, we use elegant solutions. Energy weapons, shield penetrators, smart missiles. We try to disable ships, not destroy them. We offer terms when the battle turns. These attackers use brute force, heavy slugs of metal fired very fast, explosives that turn ships into dust, and they never stop attacking until everything is dead. Tank was listening to these interviews with a strange expression. Finally he spoke up. Captain, I need to show you something. In the weapons analysis room, Tank brought up recordings from the battles. Look at their targeting patterns. Look at how they coordinate their attacks. Look at how they use their nuclear weapons. Sarah watched the tactical displays. Slowly she began to see what Tank meant. The attacking ships used formations that Earth military Academy still taught. They targeted engine systems first, then weapons, then life support. They used nuclear weapons, not as bombs but as ways to create electromagnetic pulses that disabled enemy electronics. These are human tactics, she said. Quietly, more than that, Captain, these are old human tactics from before we had energy weapons and fancy shields, from when we had to rely on armor and kinetic weapons to win fights. 3 days later, Sarah's fleet finally encountered the mysterious attackers. Her ships dropped out of faster than light travel at the edge of a destroyed star system. The enemy fleet was there waiting. Sarah stared at the main screen in shock. The ships were definitely human in design, but they were bigger than anything Earth had ever built, thicker, more heavily armed. They looked like someone had taken normal human warships and rebuilt them for surviving in hell. Captain, said Lieutenant Martinez, we are receiving a transmission. Put it through. The screen showed a bridge that looked like the inside of a fortress. Heavy metal walls, thick blast doors, emergency lights casting red shadows. And in the captain's chair sat a human. But this human was different, taller, broader, with skin that looked like it had been exposed to radiation for years. Scars covered what Sarah could see of his face. His eyes were cold and hard. Earth ships, the stranger said in perfect English, I am Admiral Kazuki Nakamura of the Exodus Fleet. You will surrender your alien technology and return with us to reclaim our birth world. Sarah activated her own transmission. Admiral Nakamura, I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. We are here to investigate reports of attacks on civilian colonies. Nakamura laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Civilian colonies full of aliens who have poisoned our home. Yes, we attack them. We will attack more. Earth belongs to humans, not to creatures who cannot even breathe our air. Admiral, Earth is part of the Galactic Council. We have treaties and agreements. Earth is weak, Nakamura said. His voice was full of disgust. When we left 300 years ago, humans were strong. We conquered worlds and space itself through strength and determination. We returned to find our people living as pets to aliens. Tank leaned over to Sarah. Captain, I am reading massive energy signatures from their weapons. Whatever they have, it is not in our databases. On the screen, Nakamura continued talking. We are the descendants of the generation ship New Bushido. We found worlds that would kill you soft Earth humans in minutes. Worlds with gravity that would crush your bones, air that would burn your lungs, radiation that would cook your brain. We did not just survive these worlds, we conquered them. We became stronger. Admiral, we can discuss this peacefully. There is no need for conflict. There is every need, Nakamura said. Look at you sitting in a ship built with alien technology, speaking for creatures that see humans as useful animals. You have forgotten what it means to be human. He gestured to someone off-screen. Let me show you what we learned in 3 centuries of fighting to survive. One of the Exodus ships fired on a nearby asteroid. Weapon was unlike anything Sarah had ever seen, a beam of pure energy that seemed to tear space itself apart. Asteroid simply stopped existing. That is what happens to worlds that refuse to submit, Nakamura said. We perfected our weapons by testing them on planets that tried to kill us. Your alien friends built their technology for comfort and convenience, we built ours for survival. Against impossible odds. Sarah realized she was looking at the future of humanity, or one possible future. The Exodus fleet represented humans who had been forced to become something harder, stronger, and more dangerous than anything Earth had ever produced. Admiral, we need to talk about this face. To face, yes, Nakamura agreed, you will. Come aboard my ship alone, no weapons, no alien technology, you will see what humans can become when they stop accepting limits. Tank grabbed Sarah's arm. Captain, this is a trap. Sarah looked at the Exodus ships on her screen, ships built by humans who had spent 3 centuries learning to survive in the most dangerous places in the galaxy, ships that could probably destroy her entire fleet without breaking a sweat. Maybe, she said, but they are still human. And if we are going to stop a war between different branches of humanity, someone has to take the first step. She opened a channel to Admiral Nakamura. I will come aboard your ship, Admiral, but I want to understand something first. What exactly do you want? Nakamura's smile was cold as space. We want Earth back. We want the aliens gone, and we want humanity to remember what it means to be the apex predator of the galaxy instead of its favorite pet. Sarah realized that the galaxy's worst fears were coming true. The Deathworlders had not only achieved space flight, they were coming home, and they were not happy with what they found. The shuttle trip to Admiral Nakamura's flagship felt like traveling into another world. Captain Sarah Chen watched through the viewport as her small craft approached the massive ship. The Ragnarok was 3 times larger than any Earth vessel, and every surface was covered in thick armor plating and weapon systems. The docking bay looked more like a military bunker than a starship hangar. Armed soldiers in heavy combat suits watched Sarah's shuttle land. When she stepped out, the gravity hit her like a physical blow. She could barely stand upright. Welcome to real gravity, Earth human, said one of the soldiers. His voice came through speakers in his armored helmet. This is what we call light gravity. Our training decks run at twice this. Sarah struggled to walk as they escorted her through corridors that looked like the inside of a battleship designed by people who expected to fight for their lives every day. Thick blast doors every few meters, emergency weapons lockers built into the walls, air that tasted of metal and recycled atmosphere. Admiral Nakamura was waiting in what he called the war room. It was a circular chamber with displays showing tactical information about every ship in both fleets. The Admiral himself was even more impressive in person, nearly 7 ft tall, with muscles that came from living in heavy gravity his entire life. Sit, he said, pointing to a chair that was built for someone much larger than Sarah. Let me tell you a story about what humans can become when they stop making excuses. Sarah managed to sit down, fighting against the crushing gravity. I am listening. 300 years ago, the generation ship New Bashidto left Earth with 50,000 colonists. We were sent to establish human colonies in the outer rim. Earth said it would send supply ships and support fleets. Earth lied. Nakamura activated a holographic display showing star charts. We found worlds, Captain Chen, worlds that would kill soft humans like you in seconds, worlds with gravity that crushes bones, atmosphere that burns lungs, radiation that cooks brains, whether that includes storms, made of metal and acid, you could have. Looked for easier worlds, we tried. Every habitable world we found was already claimed by alien species. Species that had been expanding while Earth sat comfortable and safe in its little corner of space, so we had two choices: die in space or learn to live. In hell, the holographic display changed to show images of the colonies. Sarah gasped. The cities looked like military fortresses. Every building was designed to survive bombardment. Children played in powered armor suits. Adults carried weapons as casually as Earth humans carried communication devices. We did not just survive, Nakamura continued. We thrived, we bred stronger, we built tougher, we learned to fight against planets that fought back, and while we were becoming what humanity should be, Earth was becoming weak, we built a peaceful civilization. You built a zoo, Nakamura said with disgust. You let aliens teach you their technology, you adopted their values. You forgot that humans became the dominant species on Earth by being better predators than anything else on the planet. Sarah tried to stand up, but the gravity forced her back down. Cooperation is not weakness. Dependence is. Nakamura touched a control and the display showed Earth's current military. Your ships are half alien technology. Your weapons are based on alien designs. Your soldiers train using alien tactics. What happens when your alien friends decide they do not need you anymore? That will not happen. The Council values diversity and cooperation. Nakamura laughed. The Council values useful animals. You are their pet humans, Captain. Clever pets who can think and fight and explore dangerous places where civilized species cannot go, but pets nonetheless. Display changed again, showing the Exodus fleet in action. Sarah watched in horrified fascination as their ships tore through Council forces with ease. Their weapons ignored energy shields. Their armor shrugged off plasma blasts. Their tactics were simple and brutal. We spent 3 centuries learning to fight things that could kill us with a thought, Nakamura explained. Gravity fields that could crush ships, energy storms that could cook crews alive, creatures that hunted in hard vacuum. Compared to that, your alien friends are easy. What do you want? Sarah asked. Earth clean of alien influence, humans ruling humans as it should be, and then we expand. We take worlds and make them ours. We remind the galaxy why apex predators should be feared, not protected. Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's cold air. You want to conquer the galaxy. I want to save humanity from the slow poison of comfort and dependence. Look at yourself, Captain. You can barely function in normal gravity. Your weapons are designed by aliens. Your ship is built using alien technology. In 3 centuries, will there be anything human left about Earth? Humans. The war rooms doors opened and several other officers entered. They were all like Nakamura, tall, strong, scarred from lives of constant struggle. One of them was a woman who looked like she could punch through steel armor with her bare hands. Admiral, the woman said, the Council fleets are mobilizing. Looks like they want to fight. Good, Nakamura replied. It has been too long since we had a real challenge. Captain Chen, you will stay and watch. You need to understand what humans can do when they stop pretending to be civilized. Sarah watched the tactical displays as the 2 fleets maneuvered for battle. The Council forces had more ships, better technology, and centuries of experience. Fighting space battles, but the Exodus fleet had something else, absolute confidence that they were superior to everything they faced. Your alien friends fight like they are dancing, observed one of Nakamura's officers. Pretty formations, elegant maneuvers, minimal damage. They try to disable ships instead of destroying them. They offer terms when they start losing. We fight like we are hunting, added another. Maximum damage, no mercy, no retreat, because that is how you survive when everything is trying to kill you. The battle began with long-range missile exchanges. Sarah watched as Council ships fired sophisticated guided weapons that should have torn through any defense. The Exodus ships responded with simple nuclear warheads launched from crude missile tubes. The Council missiles were intercepted by point defense systems that filled space with metal fragments. The Exodus nuclear weapons punched through the most advanced shields like they were not there and turned entire ships into expanding clouds of gas. How? Sarah asked. Your shields are designed to stop energy weapons and sophisticated guided systems, Nakamura explained. They are not designed to stop a nuclear warhead moving at significant fractions of light speed. Simple physics defeats complex technology. The battle continued for 2 hours. When it ended, 40 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. The Exodus fleet had lost nothing. Now do you understand? Nakamura asked. Sarah did understand. She understood that humanity had split into 2 branches, one that chose cooperation and comfort, and one that chose strength and survival, and she was not sure which one would be better for the galaxy. What happens now? She asked. Now you go back to Earth. You tell them what you have seen. You give them our terms. Withdraw from the Council. Expel all alien influences and accept that the strong should rule, or we will make the choice for them. As Sarah prepared to leave, Nakamura added one more thing. We are not monsters, Captain. We are what humans become when they refuse to accept limits, when they insist on being strong instead of safe. Your Earth humans could become like us if they had the courage to try. Sarah returned to her ship knowing that the galaxy was about to change forever. The question was whether it would be destroyed in the process. The Battle of Proxima Centauri began at 800 hours Galactic Standard Time. Captain Sarah Chen watched from the bridge of the Indomitable as the largest space fleet in recorded history prepared to fight for the future of human civilization. On one side, the combined Earth Council fleet of 300 ships, representing dozens of species and centuries of cooperative technology. On the other, Admiral Nakamura's Exodus armada of 60 ships built by humans who had learned to survive in the most dangerous places in the galaxy. The numbers should have favored the Council forces. They had better technology, more experience, and overwhelming numerical superiority, but Sarah had seen what Exodus weapons could do to advanced ships, and she was afraid. All ships. This is Admiral Rodriguez, came the voice over the fleet communications. Remember, these are still humans we are fighting. Use minimum necessary force. Try to disable rather than destroy. Tank. Morrison shook his head. Admirals making a mistake, Captain. You don't show mercy to predators. They see it as weakness. Sarah opened a channel to Commander HFY, whose Altarian squadron was positioned on their left flank. HFY, your ships have the best sensors in the fleet. What are you Reading from the Exodus formation. Captain Chen, their energy signatures are strange. They are running much hotter than normal ships. It is as if their entire vessels are designed around their weapon systems rather than their engines or life support. That makes sense, Tank said. If you live on Death worlds, you build everything to survive and fight. Comfort comes last. The two fleets closed to engagement range. The Exodus ships moved in perfect formation. Like a pack of hunters, the Council ships spread out in a classic engagement pattern designed to maximize their technological advantages. Admiral Nakamura's voice came across all frequencies. Attention, Council forces. This is your final warning. Surrender now and accept human rule or be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to comply. Admiral Rodriguez responded immediately. Admiral Nakamura, we will not surrender to terrorists. All Council ships, you are free to engage. Battle began with a massive missile exchange. Sarah watched as hundreds of smart missiles launched from Council ships, their targeting systems locked onto the Exodus vessels. At the same time, the Exodus fleet fired what looked like simple metal projectiles. The smart missiles should have been unstoppable. They had advanced guidance systems, shield penetrators, and enough explosive power to crack a moon, but the Exodus ships filled space with defensive fire. That looked primitive but worked perfectly. Metal fragments moving at incredible speed tore the sophisticated missiles apart. Meanwhile, the Exodus projectiles punched through the most advanced shields like they were made of paper. These were not just metal slugs, they were dense cores of heavy elements, accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. When they hit, they released energy equivalent to nuclear weapons. Shields down to 60%, reported the Indomitable's damage control officer. Whatever they are firing, our defensive systems were not designed for it. Tank was already adjusting their weapons. Captain, recommend we switch to kinetic weapons. Their armor is designed to absorb energy, but metal hitting metal still follows basic physics. Sarah approved the change, and the Indomitable began firing its backup kinetic systems. All around them, other Earth ships were doing the same. The human crews adapted quickly, falling back on older fighting techniques their great-grandparents had used, but the alien crews of the Council fleet were struggling. Their species had evolved elegant, energy-based combat over thousands of years. They were not prepared for the brutal simplicity of kinetic warfare. SciFi, Sarah called, can your ships adapt their tactics? We are trying, Captain Chen, but our ships are not built for this kind of fighting. Our crews are not trained for it. We are losing ships faster than we can adjust. The battle was turning into a disaster. The Council forces were losing 3 ships for every Exodus vessel they damaged, and they were not even managing to destroy any of the enemy ships. Exodus armor was too thick, their damage control too efficient. Then Tank made a discovery. Captain, I have been analyzing their ship movements. They are incredibly tough, but they are not very maneuverable. They are built for endurance, not agility. Sarah understood immediately, like tanks instead of fighter jets. Exactly. If we can force them into rapid maneuvering combat, we might have an advantage. Sarah opened a fleet channel. All ships, this is Captain Chen. Switch to hit and run tactics. Use our superior speed and maneuverability Do not try to stand and fight. The tide of battle began to shift. Earth ships, using a combination of human intuition and alien technology, started dancing around the Exodus. Vessels they could not punch through the thick armor, but they could stay out of range of the devastating weapons. The alien crews of the Council fleet began to adapt as well. SciFi's Altarians used their superior sensors to coordinate targeting solutions. Methane breathers contributed their knowledge of three-dimensional thinking. The crystal beings provided computational power for complex tactical calculations. For the first time in the battle, the Exodus fleet was taking real damage. Not enough to destroy ships, but enough to slow them down and reduce their effectiveness. That was when Sarah's worst fears came true. Long rain sensors detected new contacts approaching the battle zone, ships that did not match any known design patterns. Captain said, Lieutenant Martinez, we are receiving a transmission from the unknown contacts. The main screen lit up with an image that made Sarah's blood run cold. The creature on the screen was vaguely humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin was black and reflective like metal. Its eyes glowed with their own light. When it moved, Sarah could see that it was not wearing a spacesuit. It was surviving in hard vacuum. Greetings, lesser species, the creature said in perfect galactic standard. I'm Hunt Leader Vashitor of the KTH Collective. We thank you for providing such excellent entertainment. Your civil war has given us the perfect opportunity to study your combat capabilities. Admiral Nakamura's voice cut across all channels. What are you? We are what you call Deathworlders. Human, the real ones. Our species evolved on a world that makes your worst colonies look like vacation resorts. We have been watching your galaxy for centuries, waiting for the right moment to begin our harvest. Sarah felt sick. Harvest? Yes, we have identified several species with useful genetic traits and technological capabilities. Humans show particular promise as warriors and survivors. Altarians have excellent sensory capabilities. Crystal beings provide computational resources. We will take what we need and eliminate what we do not. On the tactical display, Sarah watched as the KTH ships moved into attack formation. There were only 20 of them, but each one was larger than anything in either human fleet. Admiral Nakamura, Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. I think we need to talk. Nakamura's response was immediate. Agreed, Captain Chen. It seems the galaxy's most dangerous Deathworlders are not human after all. The two human fleets found themselves fighting side by side for the first time in 3 centuries. Earth ships provided speed and maneuverability. Exodus ships provided firepower and durability. Allied alien vessels contributed their unique capabilities, but Sarah was not sure it would be enough. The KTH had evolved on a world so hostile that they had become living weapons. They could survive in space without protection. Their ships were grown rather than built, using biotechnology that defied understanding. The real battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and humanity would face it united or not at all. The combined human fleet faced the KTH with everything they had. Captain Sarah Chen watched in horror as the alien biohips moved through space like living creatures, their hulls shifting and adapting to incoming fire. Their ships are alive, reported Tank Morrison from his weapon station. Our targeting Computers cannot get solid locks. Ships keep changing shape, Admiral. Nakamura's voice came through the communication system. Captain Chen, we need to coordinate our attacks. My ships will provide heavy fire support. Your ships need to use speed and precision. Strikes, understood, Admiral. All Earth vessels form up on the Exodus ships. We are going to try something new. The battle against the K-Thor was unlike anything in galactic history. The aliens did not use energy weapons or missiles. Instead, they deployed creatures that could survive in hard vacuum, living weapons that tore through ship hulls, with claws that could cut through the strongest metals. Sarah watched in disbelief as KTH-more warriors leaped from ship to ship across open space, using their own bodies as boarding craft. They were 8 ft tall, covered in armor that seemed to be part of their skin and moved like they had been born in zero gravity. How do we fight something like this? Asked Lieutenant Martinez. Tank was already working on the problem. We fight dirty just like they do. The Indomitable launched its nuclear torpedoes directly at the nearest Kethmore biohip. The alien vessel tried to adapt, growing new armor, plating, and defensive systems, but nuclear explosions followed the same physical laws regardless of how advanced the target was. The bioship died in a burst of radiation and shattered organic matter. That is how you kill a living ship, Tank announced. You kill it like any other living thing, with overwhelming force. Admiral Nakamura's flagship, the Ragnarok, demonstrated the Exodus approach to the problem. Instead of trying to fight the KTH-more boarding parties in ship-to-ship combat, they opened their own airlocks and met the aliens in space. Sarah watched in amazement as Exodus warriors in powered armor fought hand-to-hand combat in hard vacuum. These humans had been modified by 3 centuries of Deathworld living. They were stronger, tougher, and more vicious than anything the KTH-more had expected to face. Admiral Nakamura, Sarah called. Your people are fighting them directly. In space, my people were raised on worlds where the atmosphere tries to kill you, Nakamura replied. And GT, vacuum is just another hostile environment. And GT, we train for this. Commander SciFi's Alaran ships contributed their superior sensors, tracking the constantly changing Kethmore vessels and providing targeting data to both human fleets. The crystal beings used their computational abilities to predict how the biohips would adapt to different types of attacks, but the real breakthrough came when one of the methane-breathing species made a discovery. Captain Chen came the transmission. We have analyzed the KTH-more biohips. They are not just alive, they are ecosystem ships. They carry entire environments inside them. What does that mean? It means they have the same weakness as any ecosystem. Disrupt the balance and the whole system collapses. Tank understood immediately. Biological weapons, we need to attack them with something their ships cannot adapt to. Sarah felt sick. We do not use biological weapons against normal enemies. No, said Admiral Nakamura, but these are not normal enemies. These are apex predators who see us as prey. Sometimes you have to fight monsters with monstrous tactics. The combined fleet began using every nasty trick in the book. Radioactive dust clouds that contaminated the bioship's internal environments, electromagnetic pulses that disrupted their nervous systems, chemical weapons that poisoned their atmospheric processors, the K-Thamore, had spent thousands of years becoming the perfect hunters, but they had never faced prey that fought back with the same ruthless efficiency they used. The tide of battle turned when Captain Chen and Admiral Nakamura coordinated a joint assault on the KTH-Moore command ship. Earth vessels provided precision strikes that disrupted the bio's adaptive systems. Exodus ships followed up with massive kinetic bombardments that shattered the creature's internal structure. The hunt leader, Vassiter, appeared on the communication screen one final time. Its perfect features were now scarred and bleeding. Impossible. We are the ultimate predators. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Admiral Nakamura's response was cold and final. You made one mistake. You tried to hunt humans. We are the species that hunted everything else on our home world to extinction, and then we got better at it. The Kithmari command ship died like a living thing with screams that echoed across all frequencies. The remaining biohips fled into deep space, carrying the message that this galaxy was protected by something more dangerous than they were. In the aftermath of the battle, Captain Chen and Admiral Nakamura met face to face on a neutral station. Both leaders looked exhausted but relieved. We need to talk, Sarah said. Yes, Nakamura agreed. We do. The negotiations took 3 days. In the end, they reached an agreement that surprised everyone. The Exodus clans would not rejoin Earth civilization. Instead, they would become autonomous human colonies, maintaining their enhanced capabilities while working with Earth on joint defense projects. We are still human, Nakamura explained, but we are a different kind of human, one adapted for survival in hostile environments. The galaxy needs both kinds. Sarah understood. Earth provides diplomacy and cooperation. The Exodus clans provide strength and survival skills. Together we make sure that humanity never again faces extinction. And we make sure the galaxy remembers that humans are not pets to be protected. We are partners to be respected. The Terra Compact was signed by representatives of both human factions and the Galactic Council. It established a new framework for human expansion that combined Earth's diplomatic skills with the Exodus clan's survival expertise. 6 months later, Sarah stood on the bridge of a new type of ship, half Earth technology, half Exodus engineering. Around her, crews from both human factions worked together, preparing to establish the galaxy's first integrated Deathworld colonies. These would be worlds where any species could learn to push beyond their environmental limitations, places where the soft could become hard, where the weak could become strong, and where civilized species could remember what it meant to be survivors. Tank Morrison, now serving as the Joint Fleet Chief Tactical Officer, looked at the sensor readings from their destination. Captain, we are approaching Kepler 438b. Gravity 3 times Earth normal, toxic atmosphere, constant electrical storms, and predators that hunt in hard vacuum. Sarah smiled. Sounds like home for some of us. Anyway, Admiral Nakamura's voice came through the communication system from his own ship. Captain Chen, welcome to the real galaxy, the one where strength and cooperation work together to build something better than either could achieve alone. As the joint human fleet prepared to land on their new Death World colony, Sarah realized that the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity's greatest strength was not their ability to survive hostile environments. It was their ability to remain united across impossible differences while still maintaining their edge. The next time an SOS call came from the outer rim, the response would not be a divided humanity fighting itself. It would be a species that had learned to harness both cooperation and competition as tools for survival, and the galaxy would be safer for it. In the distance, long-range sensors detected new signals from unexplored space, unknown species, possible threats, definite challenges. Sarah looked forward to meeting them. After all, humanity was ready for whatever the universe could throw at them. They had learned to be strong together.